as most people flee the flames, there are, of course, some brave souls who head straight towards the fires. Aircraft from across Europe are joining the battle. Eda Navacerada is an aerial firefighting pilot who has flown through 25 fire seasons in Europe and South America. I spoke to him yesterday and I began by asking him what it felt like to fly over a fire which is out of control.
You know, Anita, for us, we understand that people from the ground, they see the flames, the smoke, those homes that are going to burn, the obstacles. But for us, what we try to see is procedures. We try to see the terrain, the wind, the margins that we have, the escape routes, all the mitigated risk. And we try to see that from that professional point of view, because if we see what the people are seeing from the ground and we get emotional, and that's the problem when it comes to decision making.
I mean, that sense of focus is extraordinary and admirable, but you still have skin and you still feel heat. How low do you go and how hot does it get?
It gets hot. You get to feel it in the aircraft. Luckily, in this newer aircraft, we have air conditioning, but it gets hot. You can actually feel the difference. We're talking that the kind of flames that we see in these mega fires, these fires could get up to 1,000 degrees. So if you get too close, you get to feel it. But if you get to feel the heat, the turbulence, it creates unstable air around the fire. And there is a number of phenomena that we see sometimes, fire wheels and things.
Fire wheel? What's a fire wheel?
You know, a dust devil, when it picks up the dust, it's the same thing, but with the fire. Due to the extreme heat, sometimes you see like a little mini tornado with fires, and all of these are pretty, it's a hazard for aviation.
I mean, a hassle is just such an understatement. Can you talk us through a run?
In this kind of aircraft, the amphibious scoopers, we need to locate a suitable area. It could be a reservoir, it could be a river, and we need a certain distance. Normally, about a mile. The condition of the water must be suitable. About half of a meter is our maximum wave height. And then we touch the water. We don't stop. We are skimming the water. We have a trigger in the cockpit that we push, and then it brings down some what we call the probes. That scoops the water and it gets to the tank of the aircraft. Within 15 seconds, we get 3,000 liters and we go to the fire. And we do that again and again. I've done 60 in a full 3-hour cycle. I mean, it gets very repetitive. That's good. That brings a lot of water to the ground forces that are fighting the fires, and it is very intense. You never get bored.
Some of the wildfires that we've been watching on our screens just seem to be spreading so very quickly. They seem so vast. Is your purpose to put out the fires or cut them off from civilian populations? What is sort of the mission that you're sent out with?
That becomes a priority. When the fire is so large and so violent, then we are mitigating. Our focus becomes human settlements, protecting people and society, and then we take care of the rest. When we are activated to a fire that is starting, that's a different story. But in the fires that we've seen now through Europe, the big ones, we are part of a much broader strategy. They could be maybe they want us to work on a certain flank of the fire because the command and control center, they are directing it to an area where it's a fire break. And naturally, it could be rocks, it could be a dirt track. So that is what we do. When it's so big, we do bits by bits, and then all together becomes part of a broader strategy.
And you're not just doing it from the air, because you're working in tandem with men and women who are on the ground and who are much closer to the inferno.
Correct. That's what we always want to highlight. We are supporting those, the men and women on the ground that are fighting closer to us, to the flame. So it is hard for us also. It becomes demanding and challenging, but we always put them first. Those down there, it's really hard. Sometimes it's very steep. They are working with manual tools. It is very physical. So we are very proud when we see that we can make their job easier. We can bring the flames lower, reduce intensity, slow the spread, cool a certain sector, protect an evacuation route, but they will finish the fire.
Have you ever been frightened?
Yes, I guess sometimes we get some scares. We try to keep them as low as possible, but sometimes the conditions can change quickly, and then you get conditions that you didn't expect, or the aircraft behaving in a certain way that you didn't expect. We train for that. We try to keep them as low as possible, but it happens sometimes.
And finally, I mean, are you seeing these fires with much more frequency, much more ferocity? Are they getting worse?
That's a very good question. I think I've seen big fires for a long time, like Portugal 2018 was horrible. We see, every now and then a season in South America that is really, really bad. It's hard to tell. I think we are seeing more the consequences. The climate change is a risk multiplier. We get hotter and drier conditions. That's a fact. It's out of my field of expertise, but I get the impression that we are seeing more violent fires with time.
That's Anita Anand, who is an aerial firefighting pilot.